Hello everyone, it's Eric. A little while back, I asked what ranking you wanted to see next. Sculpture said, rank every Discord rap battle. And here we are. 39 battles to rank here. Quite a tough one for sure. At the start, I thought this is gonna be a nightmare to go through so many and rank them. However, this was my favorite ranking to make so far. Going through an entire series progression instead of just looking at some modern battles, it really allowed me to see where they started and where they are now. So one quick caveat here, I will not be counting shorts, audio onlys from the album, SoundCloud battles, or the Discard rap battle with J. Jonas Jameson. It's just the 39 battles that have videos on YouTube, and no disrespect to the early projects. I'm just trying to do a review of each one from a mostly current perspective, entirely personal opinion, unlikely you agree with any of this. With that out of the way, let's begin. Number 39 is Kirby vs. Galactus. Yeah, I kinda took the easy way out here. Their first battle is last place. I feel a little bad, but it makes sense the earliest project is the least polished. There are some decent moments in the writing, honestly, and I like Default Dance Kirby, but the rest of it is just the weakest in the series. Number 38 is Kim Jong-un vs. King George III. A 6-rapper royale this early on. This actually kinda reminds me of that Mario vs. Link royale from Epic Rap Battles of Extreme. This is better overall, but it is similar in concept. It's more polished than the last one. The highlight is the Jefferson Davis performance and a few King George lines, and the only really bad thing is the Nimrod line being possibly the worst in the entire series. Number 37 is Andre the Giant vs. Peter Dinklage. This one is better than the others for a stronger flow, a few good lines, the matchup, and honestly a solid Peter Dinklage performance. Not much else to say on it though. Number 36 is the Grinch vs. John McClane. This was tough to rank, because even though the mixing and editing are big improvements over the others on the list, I don't like this battle very much. It has worse flow than I think everything on this list with maybe the Kirby vs. Galactus exception. And unfortunately, while the voices are not bad, these deliveries just kind of make the whole thing less pleasant to listen to. There are a few good lines here, but I do consider the writing weaker, and it's overall only a bit stronger than the ones that came before it. Number 35 is Maui vs. Gilgamesh. A more refined project, with a manageable duration, some pretty strong flow honestly, and more ambitious editing. I like some of the lines a good bit as well, so it's not as bad as Kirby vs. Galactus, and it's not bad at all honestly. Number 34 is Mask vs. Beetlejuice. This one has some great and weak elements. The performances and mixing are solid, but the structure confuses me. The back and forth stuff actually had me struggling to keep up with who was going, and I couldn't tell which rapper was which, and it made the battle feel very long. The Minecraft stuff was also kind of jarring, and the writing was pretty weak. That said, the strong audio elements do help this one rise a bit higher. Number 33 is Scott the Woz vs. Scott Pilgrim. This battle is close to the previous one in quality, but it gets a slight edge for better pacing and more references that personally clicks with me. Number 32 is Tommy Wiseau vs. Jay Gatsby. This one is kinda great given it was made in 48 hours. There are some solid lines, I like the I did not hit her one, the closer is very strong, and Adam's Tommy is pretty good honestly. The Gatsby is not as strong, but Adam does a good job as Tommy Wiseau, and I should note, the new version of this battle on the DRB album would top this entire list. It doesn't have a video, but that thing is so good. Number 31 is Matpat vs. Nostradamus. Much improvement in the technical elements here. It has good art, good performances, great beat, and most of the flows are strong. The writing is a bit repetitive, but there's enough good references that I would give it a bit of a higher spot than some others. Number 30 is Colonel Sanders vs. Bernie Sanders. There are two aspects of this battle that stand out to me. The beat is hilarious, because I used it in a theme park rap battle one time, and it fits about as well in this battle as it did in mine. The Bernie performance is awesome and hilarious. That's the other standout here. I like the Colonel performance as well, and there's a good number of strong lines here, even if the flows are not as well written, and overall, it's a pretty solid early battle. Number 29 is Benito Mussolini vs. Emperor Nero. This one I enjoy quite a bit. Snakebite kills it as Nero, and Alaskan Sam, he's pretty strong as Mussolini as well. There are good flows and lyrics compared to most of the early projects, and while it doesn't quite rise above the newer ones, it's not that far off from some. Number 28 is Ben Shapiro vs. Thomas Paine. This battle rules. The beat is excellent and grand, and both rappers do quite well. The flow kinda goes in on parts, and there's a lot of clever lines. The project has a large feel to it, and I like that a lot. And it's among the very best 2020 Discord rap battles. Number 27 is Kirby vs. Galactus 2. I feel bad putting this one so low, but I just don't really vibe with it. My favorite part is honestly the intro visual because it's quite funny to look at. Ozia is decent as Kirby, but I find this is the weakest Kirby performance that she's given. Light is great as Galactus, even if the fast parts are kinda hit or miss for me. This mainly beat out the early battles for the plethora of good disses and clever lines, and it's definitely one of the best at its time. Number 26 is PewDiePie vs. the Pied Piper. This one seems to get hated on a bit too much. It is so smooth. I love the way this one sounds to the point that it compensates for the somewhat lackluster lyrics. I like both voices a decent amount besides the auto-tune from PewDiePie, though I'll admit Little Flex's PewDiePie is not as great casting as someone made it out to be. But the trippy beat and other aspects make this one a little underrated, I would say. Number 25 is Team Rocket vs. the Wet Bandits. I don't really like this one much. The production is quite good. Every performance is strong, my favorite probably being Jesse as Jesse. However, the one thing that I have to kind of criticize is writing. The only lines I like are the opening Wet Bandits line and a few banter bits between teammates, also Wobba Fett. The Wobba Fett bit is good, but the battle is just kind of okay, though it is more polished than the ones that are ranked below it. Number 24 is Ray Kroc vs. Andrew Carnegie. This one has fantastic editing, especially compared to the others from his time. It looks great. I like some of the lines about the rappers' histories, and Snakebite gives a very solid performance. My biggest issue is the way Carnegie is presented. Serena does alright, but I wish Carnegie had the same eccentric energy, instead of being just kind of a grumpy old man. The battle also does drag a little bit, but these flaws are fairly minor, and I think this is a quite strong project. Number 23 is O Il Nam vs. General Zaroff. This discount rap battle shows great improvement in editing and mixing from the 2020 ones. I love RNG as Zaroff, and he had tons of great lines. Il Nam was weaker, but still okay. I also want to say that KC as the announcer at the end was fantastic delivery-wise, even with just one line. Number 22 is Cooking Mama vs. Papa Louie. Another where the beat stands out because of theme park stuff. It wasn't in a theme park rap battle, but a more interesting story you can ask about in the comments. Once again, I'm not sure it fits, but the rest of the battle is good. Garbage Gothic as Cooking Mama is nice, and Serena is fantastic as Papa Louie. Kills it there. I'm always concerned about a chef battle, because I kind of feel like it won't be clever enough with food puns, but this one doesn't fall into that trap much, so I do enjoy it a nice bit. Number 21 is Commander Tartar vs. Alexander Graham Bell. This battle is solid, but I'm a little split. Tartar goes hard. Strong deliveries, a few really good lines, and Graham Bell only really has the finisher. It's a short but sweet venture, and a solid one overall. Number 20 is Hatsune Miku vs. Rhythm Bot. This battle is probably better than I realized, but I don't know anything about either of these characters? I did research a little bit to get some understanding, but I like the battle either way. Ozzy does a good job, and I'd say the singing portion is pretty decent. Michael Stark brings fun energy to the rhythm bot parts, and I like the beat and mixing a good bit, and that final Discord part that I guess is a rhythm bot reference is creative, and this one is a nice project overall. Number 19 is Coco Chanel vs. Hercules Mulligan. This one, quite frankly, slaps. Great performances, awesome beat work, strong editing. The writing does hold it back a little though. I could have done with a few less Hamilton references from Mulligan, but his closer is insane, so I like this one quite a lot. Number 18 is A-Train, and by that I mean Jesse Pinkman vs. Huey Campbell. As someone with little knowledge of the boys, this battle's kinda weird, but it is a great one and the newest to date as I'm making this ranking. The A-Train references I guess are a meme of some sort, but they are funny. A bit odd, but still funny. And most jokes landed, and I like every flow. The flows are fantastic in this. The battle is a bit long, and I couldn't really tell who was rapping with that middle banter part at a point, but after multiple rewatches, it clicks with me more, and it is a very strong one overall. Number 17 is Vince McMahon vs. P.T. Barnum. This battle feels like a big project. The editing is fairly grand, and some of the strongest in the series. Both performances I like quite a lot. I will say the singing parts are a bit weird sounding to me, and I prefer how they were done in that Hatsune Miku battle, but they do fit in concept. There are a good number of strong lines, particularly the closers for both of P.T. Barnum's verses, and the biggest issue for me is that the rebuttal on the animal cruelty was handled kind of poorly, with a few other rebuttals not being great, but a good battle for sure. Number 16 is Audrey 2 versus Sweeney Todd. Audrey 2 battles are always good. Trust me, I know. The audio here is excellent. I like Adam as Audrey 2, unsurprisingly, and Midgecat as Sweeney Todd is nothing short of excellent. I think a lot of disses against Audrey 2 are just kind of saying he's a plant or a muppet, but there are a handful of nice lines and the performances make everything sound good. The editing is solid for the time, doesn't hold up as well as newer projects, but I like this one quite a good amount though. Number 15 is Alan Turing versus Herman Rorschach. This one has gorgeous editing. I love how this one looks. And on top of that, flows, performances, and beat are all high tier DRB. I will say some lines do get repetitive, and the characters could have been explored a bit more deeply than just their tests in some lyrics, but I dig this quite a lot. Number 14 is Maximilien Robespierre versus Joseph McCarthy. I know this is a very early one and you're surprised it's up here, but why is this one so good? This is an absolute gem, and I don't think anyone else thinks/realizes that. Robespierre is possibly the best Alaskan Sam performance, and Alex M gives a top-notch interpretation of Joseph McCarthy. There were very good lines. I like that Con the Dem's condemned one. The fast flow is unironically some of the best DRB has ever done. The beats are both beautiful. As far as I know, this is one of the first times Maniac was used, and the dance and beat is excellent. The one thing I'll say is I kind of feel like DRB should have swapped the beats, where the violin-based one fits better with Robespierre, but that's kind of a minor thing, and the transitions are quite seamless. This battle is not short, but is paced better than most others, and I highly recommend watching this one. I am not kidding about anything I just said. Number 13 is Ruby Rose versus Jim Corbett. Really slick audio. The beat is high energy, and it seems to fit quite well. There are some decent lines I think I would catch more of if I knew who Ruby Rose really was. Some flows are a tad off, but performances are top tier. KC is good as Ruby Rose, and Special Inquisitor Rayyan as Jim does a phenomenal job. I would not have guessed it was him. He fit perfectly for this though. Also, props to him for making the best thumbnail of any DRB and possibly any rap battle. That thing is unbelievable. Number 12 is Chris McClane versus the Frontman versus Dream. Welcome to your final test. I cannot for the life of me understand why I like this one so much, but it's a fun watch. All performances are pretty well done. The lyrics are fun, a lot of strong wordplay such as the adolescent line, that's fire. The beat is weird, but trippy in a way I like, and it's one of my favorites in the entire series. I don't understand the Dream inclusion outside of memes, but maybe that's kind of what they were going for. And it's a pretty decent verse, honestly, I like it quite a lot. Technically the only actual issue is the keying for Snakebite is Chris, but it's a strong start to 2023 for sure. Number 11 is Baymax versus the Labo Man. This battle is honestly amazing. I don't think anyone else thinks that once again, but I love this one. The beat is insanely catchy, and there's not a single line with poor flow. Just Gamer's Baymax was excellent, and Tract has such a fun energy as Labo Man. I like the visuals because the art is cute and the live action stuff is pretty impressive for being in 100 hours. I like every reference, even if there aren't that many disses, with the Blue Laker Creator one being the harshest diss but kind of being brushed aside. I've heard people say this is not the best 100-hour rap challenge battle, and that's fair actually, but for me, this sweeps. Top 10. Number 10 is Garfield versus Lord Beerus. I adore this one. It's smooth and catchy, Alaskan Sam is fantastic as Beerus, and Mancha as Garfield nails the energy. There are a lot of strong puns and a consistently good flow. Shout out to Casey Tunes for wonderful art as well. The only issue here is that the second verses feel a bit long to me, particularly Beerus, but not too much so, and this one is an excellent project. Number 9 is Charles Dickens versus Alan Moore. This, based on quality alone, is probably higher. King Mewtwo and Alaskan Sam both do great, nail every flow. There are quite a few awesome lines, and the writers seem to have known the authors quite well. The visuals are overall great, and every aspect is done, at the very least, in a good way. There's not a ton of great necessarily, but I don't have any major criticisms, and it all adds up to a jack-of-all-trades great battle. Number 8 is Phoenix Wright versus Atticus Finch. Such a creative, enjoyable idea. I love the way this is presented, and that's the highlight of the battle, the whole court case idea. There are also tons of strong lines though, particularly in reference to To Kill a Mockingbird and the courtroom terminology. Alaskan Sam nails the mannerisms of Finch along with the body acting. Garbage Gothic does a similarly good job as Maya, and I love the way Adam does the Phoenix Wright voice. I do wish the live action editing was a bit better, because the cuts to new takes were kind of obvious, but that's only one flaw, and it's kind of minor. This battle is definitely amazing. Number 7 is the Red Baron versus the White Death. This battle's vibe is something else. It has a very grand feel to it with the whole war concept. The beat is insane, and both performances capture the energy well. Red Baron is solid in both writing and rapping, but the White Death is unbelievable. Rabbi gives what I think is the best performance in DRB history. Nails every flow and delivery. The White Death verses actually kind of overshadow Red Baron for me, even though Red Baron is strong. It just shows how awesome White Death was, and huge props to everyone who worked on that part. That is top tier rap battle quality. Number 6 is the Green Goblin versus the Wicked Witch of the West. Nearly every aspect of this battle is close to the top tier, but not quite there. Let me explain. The writing is really good, but the repetition of abuse lines got old for me. Both performances are great, but a handful of deliveries on each side kind of hold them back from being as good as something like White Death. The editing has some spectacular moments, but also a few that are noticeably weaker. The beat and mixing are the one element I really have no complaints about. This one sounds excellent, and it's an all-around great battle, each aspect being close to number 1, but it's not quite there. Number 5 is Ra vs Copernicus. Phenomenal battle. The audio is one of the best in the series. This is particularly for the top tier writing. All of the wordplay and ideology comparisons are pretty excellent. The flow is catchy, I love the performances as well. Light fits his Ra super well and delivers each line with great charisma. But Saitube as Copernicus is the star for me. He brings the right energy to the character to make him seem somewhat stuck up, and I like how annoyed he sounds with like the "let's rewrite this" line, and a few others. The video is also one of the best discount rap battles, and I would say, with one exception, the best. And as a matter of fact, the editing is better than most DRBs for me, with crisp editing and backgrounds that look awesome. This battle definitely earned a top 5 spot. Number 4 is Red Mist Squidward vs LeBron James. Oh great. This is probably the most common number 1 pick, and that's fair. Let's talk about what I think of the best aspect of this battle. The video. The Red Mist editing is unbelievable, and as someone who edits in PowerPoint, I was left speechless by it. The whole thing looks great, and they're on another level from every DRB visual except for one, which I'll get to later. Both performances are quite strong. For me, the writing holds us back a little. I know you'll all disagree, but the rhyme scheme in the last verse after LeBron says sheesh isn't really my cup of tea. That first part of the last verse though is awesome, I love that rhyme scheme. And outside of that, there are a handful of bars. I like the clarinet line, and the vibe of Red Mist works pretty well. The Sprite Cranberry bit is pretty great as well. I think in general, the crazy Red Mist stuff doesn't quite service the writing of the battle as well as the video. Still great, not quite number 1 though. Number 3 is Virtual Boy vs Polybius. This is the other battle with a top tier video. Visually, I would call this the best of the series. It is atmospheric and gorgeous, the colors work so well. The performances work as well. Spidey Fam as Virtual Boy is good, but for me, Garbage Gothic as Polybius is just nuts, and one of my favorite performances in all of DRB. The beat works with the visuals nicely, and there are tons of standout lines, such as the Scott the Woz and Portland ones. Overall, amazing battle. Now the top 2 here are probably the least conventional picks. You probably thought the last 2 I mentioned, Virtual Boy and Red Mist, were going to be top 2. But I stand by these, and those who have not figured them out by now might go nuts. Number 2 is Bubble Bass vs Anton Ego. I know. But rap battle people, Alchemy King is right. This is probably the best written DRB. Nearly every line is good. Tons of great references cleverly incorporated into the lyrics, and while disses are not mind-blowingly harsh, they're funny. And ultimately, I watch this kind of battle because I think rap battles are fun. These lyrics coupled with a catchy beat and 2 excellent performances make it one of the most fun DRBs. I could have put this below the last 2 mentioned to satisfy viewers, but I hate to follow trends. But number 1 is Charlie Brown vs Charlie Sheen. Even crazier, I know. This battle is not really the number 1 best, but in my ranking it has to get number 1 because it transcends criticism. There are minor flaws I'll mention. The editing is a little wonky at some points, and some of Fight Marker's enunciations are a bit weird, but I don't mind. This battle goes harder than any other DRB. Charlie Brown's first verse does not let up with disses, and I dare say it's the best verse in the entire series. The reserved performance from Fight Marker allows every diss to land. I think the line, "If the world forgot you, you probably weren't that important," is my favorite line of the whole series. And Adam's Charlie Sheen is also solid, and he fits the eccentric energy quite well, which is a major focus of his writing. Even with this, he gets some strong disses in, so there's a near perfect balance there. The beat is catchy, but it also allows this to feel more like a battle than just a funny YouTube video, so it was a great pick. And while I mentioned some editing not being great, other bits are remarkable. I like mixing the PNG editing with live action, and so many transitions are just beautiful to look at. There is one that kind of evokes an emotion in me I do not understand every time I see it. Overall, this battle is a near flawless mix of being fun and being a harsh rap battle. Even if some technical aspects are not the best per se, DRB is definitely winning with this one. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was definitely a fun one to make, albeit quite tough. Comment down below your favorite DRBs, or least favorites if you want, and subscribe for more content such as rankings and rap battles. I'll see you next time.